way back in about 1982, I picked up a cassette tape, and the title of the tape was "What is Man?" And I put this tape into the cassette player in my motor vehicle, and this is what I heard. I heard you speaking, and you were reading from Psalm 8, verse 4, and you read, "What is man that thou art mindful of him, and the Son of Man that thou visitest him? Thou hast made him a little lower than the angels, and hast crowned him with glory and honor." And you went on to explain the word that was used there for angels, Elohim. And you said that this word can mean angels in the plural form, but it can also be indicative of God, of Elohim. And as a result of that question and your reference to the Hebrew meaning something different from what we have in our English Bibles, you changed my whole life and set me off on a path to explore the Hebrew text or the Hebrew version of the biblical text, and encouraged me to learn to read Hebrew, encouraged me to dig into biblical Hebrew and the biblical roots of the biblical text. And so that changed my life, and I'd like for you to talk a little bit about this and explain to our listeners out there how important it is for us to understand the Hebrew, because it changes the meaning of what we're reading.
Well, the simple fact of the matter is that whenever you look at this subject in Hebrew, it's saying something or implying something that is of much greater dimension than what it appears to be just in English. And let me say that in order to get some kind of understanding of what is going on here, you have to go all the way back to Genesis chapter 2 and to the passage where it says that God created or formed, and the word that's used is yetzer, vayitzer, which means to mold or to make, which is opposed to, in the very beginning in Genesis chapter 1, it talks about God creating man with the different word bara. But in Genesis 2, he is forming man. Vayitzer Adonai Elohim et ha'adam. And he forms the Adam far min ha'adamah, from the dust of the Adamah. Notice that you have Adam, Adamah. And he breathes into his nostrils the breath of life, and man becomes a thing just like God. In other words, in the Hebrew, the implication is that God is actually duplicating himself. That man becomes a thing just like God, a living thing, and he has a special mission. And what is that mission? That mission is to be the reflection of the totality of all that God is on this earth. And as we progress in the story in Genesis, God creates Eve, or Chava, as a reduplication of man, so that the two joined back together in matrimony might be the total reflection of all that God is, both the male and the female. And the fact is that man was created to be a duplication of deity. Just like God, man and woman were to reflect the totality of all that God is. And you get this idea of reflection when you go to John chapter 1 and verse number 1, and it says, Breshit haya hadavar. In the beginning was the Word. V'hadavar haya eta Elohim. And the Word was God. And the Word was God. Ve'elohim haya hadavar. Hu haya breshit etzel ha'elohim. Hakol nihye al yada u mibaladav lo nihye kol asher nihye. This is so rich with meaning that it's almost impossible to translate it into English so that we can understand, because God is reduplicating himself with man, and then man is to be a reduplication on this earth of all that God is. And without God and what he is doing, what he did, nothing that was created has any meaning for us. This is a concept of deity that is so much beyond what we understand, so much, such a greater dimension of deity that it's almost beyond our ability to comprehend.
So the text actually confirms what he's saying. If you look at the word Adam, and we understand it, it is derived from the root dam, which means blood. And if we look at Adam, which is
blood of God,
Aleph, Dalet, Mem, and so it's Aleph in front of the word Dam. So what does the Aleph stand for in
Elohim?
So that the Aleph stands for Elohim. And so Adam, directly translated, would mean God created the blood of God, because blood that's flowing in this creature's veins contains the life. And so if you understand that text and this Hebrew, it brings a whole new dimension of who this creature is that Elohim, or Yud-Heh Vav-Heh Elohim, has created.
And that he reduplicates himself with us. And our whole mission, our whole responsibility as man created in his image is to be the reflection on this earth of the totality of all that God is.
And we don't really understand what God looks like. We created Bitzel Meinu Kidmutenu, and we're a reflection of who God is. It's not necessarily a physical reflection, but if we go back to Psalms, and we read, what is man that thou art mindful of him, and the Son of Man that thou visitest him? You have created him a little lower than, and if we translate that word Elohim as being God, we see we're created in his image and after his likeness. We're not God, obviously. We're a little less than him, but we are still a reflection of who he is.
And that reflection is to point others to him, make others want to be like him.
That is really, really interesting. Remember, if you enjoy these broadcasts, hit the share button and share this information with others.